Hello, welcome to a new episode of Geek Country. I'm your host Chris. As usual, it's been a while. How are you? Yeah, I'm afraid I've just been really busy with stuff and then with Christmas. So yeah, this is the first video in a while. Hopefully, for the rest of this year, they'll be coming out far more regularly. I did turn 50 while I was away, so there's that. So I'm now getting old, as well as these glasses I wear all the time. I've now got a pair of reading glasses I now have to wear for close-up work. So yeah, I am now officially old. I thought I'd ease myself back in with a sort of simple video. I am working on a video building one of the Mobile Suit Gundam giant robot kits, but it's a bit more complicated. There's a complicated kit to put together, plus the whole filming and editing it. So say that video will be coming up shortly. So yeah, I thought I'd ease myself back in. And it was, it's time for my annual look at sort of all the up and coming geeky movies for the next, for this year now, that are coming up that have sort of caught my eye. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget, hit the thumbs up, helps us out a great deal, helps the video get seen by a lot more people. And if you're not already subscribed, smash that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a subscriber to the channel going into this new year. So yeah, these are all the films that have caught my eye this year, and I imagine my fellow geeks out there will be interested in them as well. And we kick things off in just over a week's time, 17th of January. We've got Wolfman coming from director Lee Winnell, who you may remember a few years back did the a reboot sort of sci-fi sort of modern update of another Universal monster movie, The Invisible Man, which is a pretty good film. I enjoyed what he'd done with updating the story, so it'd be interesting to see his modern take on Wolfman. As for all these movies that have had trailers released so far, I'll put a link in the description below so you can check them out. It is one of those trailers where it does give away some stuff, but I suppose when your film is called Wolfman, and you pretty much know that your main character is going to turn into a werewolf at some point. So they don't really hide that in the trailer. But I suppose that's fair enough. And always up for a good werewolf movie. So hopefully, say that'll be a good one. 17th of January. Then moving on to February, the 7th of February. Love Hurts. Ki-Hu Kwan, fresh off his Oscar win from Everything Everywhere All at Once, is back with it's an action comedy. Apparently he's like an ex-hitman, and his past catches up with him very much. I think like if you've seen Bob Odenkirk's Nobody, which is a fantastically violent movie in that sort of John Wick style. So I suspect it's going to be some of that, but with maybe a bit more comedy. Ki-Hu Kwan was, of course, a fight choreographer in between when you're back in 84 when he did Temple of Doom, and obviously now with his renaissance that he's having, he did a lot of fight choreography. So if nothing else, we should expect some good fight sequences. So as I say, that's Love Hurts on the 7th of February. Then on the 14th, we have got Marvel's first movie this year, Captain America Brave New World. Now, they only had one movie last year, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, which obviously was huge, made over $1 billion. And now, Captain America Brave New World is coming in as, I think it's the first of 3 movies this year, which will come on to the others later. I love Captain America. I love what the MCU did with him. I loved Steve Rogers' story arc, accumulating, in the end of Avengers Endgame. Anthony Mackie as the new Cap. It could be interesting to see how audiences take to him. We had a little bit of him in the the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show a while back on Disney Plus. Anything that worries me, this film really should have been out a long time ago. It's had extensive reshoots. Apparently they were still reshooting it a few weeks ago. Giancarlo Esposito's character, one of the bad guys, apparently he wasn't even in the original cut of the movie. He's been added in completely. Harrison Ford looks great as President Thunderbolt Ross, and the Red Hulk is very prominent in the trailer. So yeah, interesting to see. I think they've gone for a more thriller espionage type vibe, like Captain America Winter Soldier. So if they can pull some of that off with the spectacle, I suppose, of a big Hulk battle, that could be quite cool. Yeah, advance word has not been fantastic on that one, so we'll approach with some trepidation. Also on Valentine's Day, we've got The Gorge. It's an Apple TV production. I think it's coming straight to Apple TV, directed by Scott Derrickson, who gave us the original Doctor Strange movie and a bunch of other horror stuff. It's Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy, so they've got a good cast. From the trailer, they're snipers, like in guard towers, guarding this, the titular Gorge, which sort of, I don't know, from reading up on it, possibly it's a gateway to hell, so they're stopping things getting in or out. Not quite sure. So don't know too much about it. So there is a trailer. I'll put the link in the description below. I say check that out. So yeah, could be interesting. Difficult to tell with these straight to streaming films that we get a lot these days. You know, they do spend the money on them, and I'm saying it's got a good cast. So say that's again 14th of February, The Gorge. So yeah, we'll check that one out. March 7th of March is Mickey 17. It's a Bong Joon-ho's sort of follow up to his Oscar-winning Parasite with Robert Pattinson. It's based on quite a famous book. He's basically a clone. He signs up to work on some planet, some space colony, and basically when he dies, they just clone him and churn out a new clone. And then we get up to Mickey 17. They think he's dead. I think from what I gather from the trailer, they think he's dead, but he isn't. So they then resurrect another clone. So now you've got Mickey 17 and Mickey 18, both out there. And shenanigans occur. Trailer looks great. Say Bong Joon-ho, always been a big fan of his work. And yeah, Robert Pattinson looks really good in the trailer as well. Looks like it's got a really quirky sense of humour. So I said that's Mickey 17 on March the 7th. That's one the studio keep moving it around, ping-ponging it about. It's been delayed. It should have come out last year. Then it got delayed even further. Now they've brought it forward again. So I don't know if that shows whether they've got faith in the picture. I mean, say, you know, he won the Oscar for Parasite, so there should be some interest there at least. May, quite a busy May. On the 2nd of May, we've got the second MCU movie, Thunderbolts, with a little asterisk that's got after it, which I'm assuming will come at the end of the film. That maybe that will change and become Dark Avengers. That seems to be the sort of main thing on the internet theory of what we think is coming. I think the trailer looks quite good. It's a sort of Suicide Squad vibe to it. You know, we've got anti-heroes. I really like who was it, the Red Guardian, and also we've got Bucky the Winter Soldier. Does it? And obviously, yeah, Yelena from Black Widow, and I think Taskmaster's there, and is it Ghost? I think as well from Ant-Man and the Wasp. So yeah, a bunch of sort of anti-heroes getting together. I think yeah, got the potential to be good fun. Hasn't really been any advance word on that, so hopefully that'd be good. May the 11th is 28 Years Later, which we recently had a fantastic looking trailer for Danny Boyle's long awaited follow up to 28 Days Later, obviously with the I mean, it's a zombie movie. I know they're not technically zombies because they're just people that aren't dead. They've got a disease that makes them go insane. Yeah, that's with Aaron Taylor Johnson starring. I think it's the first part of a new trilogy. I think the second one is coming out next year, and it's called The Bone Temple, I believe. But yeah, really effective, sort of creepy trailer. It's got like really unsettling. I think it's a war poem or something. That's sort of the narration through the trailer. The visuals look great. Apparently, a lot of it was shot using an iPhone Pro. So yeah, that's on the 11th of May, 28 years later. On the 25th of May, we finally get Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Again, this is another film which has been long delayed. I think with the strikes, the writers and the actor strikes didn't help. And then obviously the last one, Dead Reckoning, did not do the business they thought it was. Apparently, its budget ballooned to sort of 350 million or something ridiculous. It didn't make that money back. So I think they decided to put some distance between it, because obviously presumably this was going to be called Dead Reckoning Part 2. Instead it's called The Final Reckoning, and they are marketing it as as Tom Cruise's final mission. So yeah, they were probably hoping they could market it as something quite separate. I say after the disappointing box office of Dead Reckoning, but unfortunately, obviously, where that was part one, we didn't get the whole story. You've still got that AI system that's out and about, and the bad guys are out, and there's on board that submarine. So they've still got a story to finish. I suppose the studio must have fingers crossed that enough people are going to turn out. I suspect, say, with the delays again, I imagine this one's probably cost a fortune as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, 25th of May. Is it going to do the business they hope? Then on the 30th of May, we've got The Life of Chuck from director Mike Flanagan, based on the Stephen King story. Flanagan did Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, and was it Midnight Mass, which was a very Stephen King feeling story that he did with it's a vampire, I think, isn't it, on the little island off the coast of Maine or something like that. Tom Hiddleston starring. I have read the story. I can't remember a great deal about it. I won't go into the story too much because I think if you've not read it, presumably it's quite spoilery and you don't really know what's going on, and it becomes apparent towards the end. So it'd be interesting to see a trailer for that and actually see how much of a story that gives away. So that's Life of Chuck on the 30th of May for the Stephen King fans. Also on the 30th, Karate Kid Legends. They've mashed them together. We've got the original Ralph Macchio now with Jackie Chan. If you remember from the sort of reboot Karate Kid movie they did a while ago with Will Smith's son Jaden, wasn't it? Yeah, so now Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are together. I don't know. The trailer doesn't seem to show that it's going to have any of the people from Cobra Kai in it. Whether or not it will acknowledge them, there'll be a cameo in it in some way. I don't know. But yeah, Jackie Chan, he's always fun. And Cobra Kai was far better. I think the people thought it was going to be when it first came out. So yeah, 30th of May, Karate Kid Legends for all you martial arts fans. Move on to June, again talking the martial arts. 6th of June, we've got Ballerina, based the spin-off based on the John Wick universe with Anna de Armas. One thing I will say, it's not directed by Chad Stahelski. And in fact, you've got Len Wiseman has taken on the directorial chores. Struggling to think of a decent Len Wiseman movie. He's not the greatest director in the world, in my opinion. But the John Wick films, they live or die on how good the action sequences are. So hopefully he's got a good fight choreographer on board. I expect cameos from Keanu Reeves and other members of the cast of John Wick to turn up as well. Then on the 13th of June, a strange one. The live action How to Train Your Dragon. Now it's coming from the original director of the animation, which sort of makes you wonder why. The original film is great. The animation is beautiful. It's got some, it's really well lit, really well rendered. It's lovely designs. It's a lovely little film. And from the trailer, it looks like they've just copied it, pretty much verbatim. A lot of the shots are absolutely identical, just in live action. But I say live action. Obviously, the dragon is CGI and there's lots of effects work going on behind it and stuff like that. So it doesn't look too. It's almost like the live action actor has been dropped in, to the animated movie instead of the other way around. So I'm not entirely sure that's a film that's necessary. I suspect. I mean, they're popular movies. It'll probably make a boatload of money. But that is 13th of June, the live action How to Train Your Dragon. If that's your thing. Then we move into July. On the 2nd of July, we've got Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, this is an interesting one. You'll note there's no Star Wars movie this year. The next movie is not until 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu, which finished principal photography months ago and was in production last year, and was announced sort of the year before that. But we're still not getting it, I think, till like May 2026. Whereas Jurassic World Rebirth, they only sort of said they were going to make it. I think it was beginning roughly about probably this time last year, and then sort of quickly within a few months they said that Gareth Edwards is going to be directing it, and then they said Scarlett Johansson is going to be starring. And then it's got a release date of the 2nd of July. We haven't had a trailer yet. We've had a few stills, nothing showing nothing great interesting to some of the actors on the set. But I love Gareth Edwards from his first film, Monsters, his Godzilla movie, obviously Rogue One. The creator he did was his last movie. He's got that knack for making a movie. He makes for a start, he makes them pretty cheap, but he makes them look really expensive. He's really good working with the special effects teams, and apparently this is going back more towards the original Jurassic Park movie. Obviously the last one, was Jurassic World Dominion, was sort of a bloated mess where they didn't even, the main story was about locusts, not even about dinosaurs, and they had too many leads in it. We don't get me started on that. It looks like they're making a sort of smaller, cheaper movie that's more to do with the sort of thrills of the original. So I say I'm all for that. As I said, I love Gareth Edwards. All the films he's done, I've enjoyed. 2nd of July, some more dinosaur mayhem on the big screen. And then another big one on the 11th of July is Superman from James Gunn. We had the trailer recently, which looks a great deal of fun. Completely different tone from Snyder's DC movies, which if you've watched the channel a lot, you'll know that I was not a massive fan of those DC movies that Snyder did. But I do like James Gunn. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a fantastic movie. If he's brought that fun sensibility to it, which it looks like he has, you've got Crypto, the super dog. You've got Green Lantern in it as well. A Hawk Girl, I think, goes flying by. So we've got a lot more superheroes as well. It's really the sort of launch of his DC Universe. I know officially we've had the animated show Creature Commandos, but the average man on the street, Superman's going to be sort of first thing they see going forward. So yeah, hopefully it's a big success. It'd be good to have a fun Superman going forward. Is it David Corn Sweat? Looks fantastic in the part as well. So yeah, 11th of July, James Gunn's Superman, and then 25th of July to compete with that is Fantastic Four First Steps. MCU. I'm going to be hoping that this one is going to be huge. Obviously, Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Looks like it's going to be set in an alternate 1960s. I suspect at the end, because Galactus is in it, I suspect at the end Galactus might end up destroying their multiverse, and they will come through into the MCU proper, which will explain why they haven't been around, obviously, for the rest of the stories. That's one of the problems they've sort of got going forward, is if you introduce now characters that supposedly have been around for ages, it's like, well, where were they? They did it with Captain Marvel, and and obviously had the story that she was off in outer space somewhere, but you can't really get away with sort of Earthbound heroes. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the X-Men when they finally turn up. I suspect that again might be a multiverse X-Men who end up coming over, like probably sort of, as it was sort of led to believe with Deadpool and Wolverine, that sort of thing. But yeah, Fantastic Four First Steps, 25th of July. I suspect it's got a potential to be huge. We haven't had a trailer yet. I suspect we'll get one shortly, definitely attached to Captain America Brave New World. I would have thought next month, if not before that. August, the 15th, Nobody 2. I mentioned we've got Love Hurts with Ki Hu Kwan. We've actually got Bob Odenkirk back in Nobody 2, which is the first one come out, no one really knew much about it, and everyone I know that watched it went, oh my god, that fight sequence on the bus at the beginning is just brutal, and it just goes on from there. It's just it's very John Wick, just almost John Woo movies, Hong Kong movies of the 80s, and just huge amounts of bullets flying everywhere and non-stop arse kickery. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's August the 15th. From there we jump up to October the 10th. Tron Ares, however you want to pronounce it. Directed, I think it's Jochen Ronning is his name. Jared Leto starring. Now I don't know about this one. Tron Legacy I enjoyed, but the story isn't great. The visuals, obviously, the music, the sound is fantastic. Story wasn't really there, and then this one, I don't think so. I think they're ignoring that story, or that's not really the main thrust of what this sequel's going to be about. And apparently, it's about Jared Leto's character coming from the computer world into our world, which just smacks of all those cheap 80s sci-fi sequels, to a big movie. And then they didn't have the budget, to do a cheap direct-to-video sequel. So what's the cheapest thing to do? Well, have them come into our world so you can just film it, in the streets of Los Angeles, like the Masters of the Universe movie, famously, a little bit of in Eternia at the beginning, and then quickly they come to Earth because it's cheaper to film. So yeah, I'm not sure. Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, I believe, is doing the soundtrack. So hopefully, at least it's going to sound great. But yeah, it depends what they do story-wise with that. Then into November on the 7th, Bugonia. Don't really know much about it, but I know it's from Yorgos Lanthimos, the Greek director, who I loved. What are you? Dogtooth, The Lobster, Killing of a Sacred Deer. Is it Poor Things, the Emma Stone won the Oscar for? She's in this as well, along with Jesse Plemons. And apparently, he's a CEO of some big multinational company who kidnaps Emma Stone because he believes that she is an alien, and shenanigans occur from there. Apparently, it says it's like a comedy thriller coming from Yorgos Lanthimos. He's very sort of surreal cinema that he produces. So I've always loved his stuff ever since someone said to me, hey, you need to watch Dogtooth many years ago now. So yeah, Bugonia on the 7th of November. We're looking forward to that one. Also on the 7th is Predator Badlands from Dan Trachtenberg, who gave us sort of Predator Prey, which no one was expecting much of, came straight to streaming and turned out to be a fantastic take on the Predator back against Native Americans. This is actually set in the future. Apparently, Elle Fanning is playing twins, and there has been talk that the Predator we may be seeing it from the Predator's point of view, not literally like not his heat vision point of view, but the Predator may be the protagonist of the movie. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. There is also potentially the talk of this other Predator project that's coming out this year that's been sort of kept secret. I mean, people are saying it could be an animated movie or be coming straight to streaming. I can't see it being another live action movie. Very hard to keep those sort of things secret unless they have filmed something, set using the same sets and things. But I don't know. I suspect that an animated movie or special or something might be the way that happens. But yeah, Predator Badlands is coming on the 7th of November. So along with Alien Romulus, was did good business, and they sort of resurrected these franchises. Romulus, there was a bit too much fan service in it, but I did enjoy the overall movie. So hopefully a bit more of that in Badlands. And on the 7th of November as well is we've got the Edgar Wright remake of The Running Man with Glenn Powell, based on the Stephen King book when he was writing back as Richard Bachman. And obviously we had the big movie with Schwarzenegger in the late 80s, was that? Normally I'd be saying it's a classic Arnie stupid action movie, one-liners, set pieces. Why remake it? But the book was absolutely nothing like the movie. The movie, they're in those little dedicated worlds where they're sort of basically like fighting gladiator types. Whereas in the book, they're released out into the real world, and it's just up to them to survive as long as they can without the public dobbing them in, basically. Be interesting to see what they've done with the ending. I won't give any spoilers away if you've not read it, but it's let's put it this way, it'd be a lot more controversial now than it was back when it was written. As I say, that's Edgar Wright. He's a great director, great visuals, and Glenn Powell, fresh off of Twisters he was in. He's becoming a sort of a big leading man in Hollywood. So yeah, that is The Running Man on the 7th of November, and then in December. On the 19th, you've got Avatar, Fire and Ash. And Avatar is one of those films that I always have to defend it. Always have to. I feel that I have to defend it because I really enjoyed the first one. It's a James Cameron big action space epic. What's not to like? With incredible special effects. But I know it's fashionable to sort of dump on it on the internet, but it made billions and billions of dollars, and people will say, "Oh, but that's because it's the first film in 3D, and everyone wanted to see it, and that was that." But then we had Avatar Fire and Water, which is no way I don't think is as good a movie. It still looks fantastic, but the story's pretty much the same as the first one. But again, everyone said, yeah, this film was going to absolutely bomb, and no one cares about Avatar anymore after all that length of time it took between the first and second film. And again, we were proved wrong, and it made an absolute colossal boatload of cash. So Avatar Fire and Ash, it almost feels like Cameron's making like a kids cartoon show from the 80s where we had the forest planet now, and then we had the water planet, and now we've got the fire planet. It's very simple, I suppose, classical sort of story tropes, but it's going to be about the Navi tribes that live up in volcanoes or something, and it's all based I think there was some concept artwork that appeared to show sort of airships and things like that. So presumably there's going to be lots of things flying around and lots of fire and volcanoes and lava and that sort of stuff, and probably exactly the same story as the previous two. But I would bet my house that it will make several $billion because people around the world seem to love the Avatar movies, even though people on the internet will tell you that nobody is interested. But yeah, that's the 19th of December. Avatar Fire and Ash. A couple more films that haven't actually got release dates yet. Death of a Unicorn. Didn't know anything about this one. The trailer was released a few weeks ago, and it jumped up straight to the top of my list of films to see. Coming from the A24 studio, who put out some great stuff. It's Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega. I think Richard E. Grant is in it. Tia Leone. And they knock over a unicorn with their car, I think, and then Big Mama Unicorn comes to find out what has happened or something like that. But it just looks. It looks more like a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. It looks quite surreal in places. It doesn't look like your typical horror movie. It's definitely got some quirky comedy action going on as well. So yeah, that's Death of a Unicorn. No release date as of yet. Wake Up Dead Man is the Brian Johnson's next Benoit Blanc movie with Daniel Craig after we had, was it Knives Out and then Glass Onion, wasn't it? Was the last one, which I actually enjoyed that one more than the first one, which I know a lot of people will say the other way around. But yeah, Wake Up Dead Man will be his next one. Presumably, it might. I don't know. I don't know if it will go straight to Netflix. I think it might get a limited cinema release and then end up on Netflix quite shortly afterwards. But yeah, so no date on Wake Up Dead Man. And then finally, Frankenstein. Guillermo del Toro's remake of the classic monster movie with Oscar Isaac as Dr. Frankenstein. It's sort of match made in heaven. Del Toro's been wanting to make a Frankenstein movie for decades. It's his sensibility. All his movies are generally, the theme is of sympathetic monsters. And he's a fantastic visual director, and with this gothic horror stuff, it's right in his wheelhouse. So yeah, they've only released say these few photographs, I think, so far. No trailer yet, no release date as of yet. But that's pretty much it. That's everything that I'm looking forward to so far, that's coming to the cinema this year. What you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. It's always good to hear from you. As I said at the beginning, hopefully I'll be getting videos out on a much more regular basis from now on. So thanks for watching. Until next time, eat geek and be merry.